Classroom management is a big concern as well. We're transitioning from an environment where perhaps an instructor is standing in front of the room speaking to a group of silent students who are taking notes or failing to do so, whatever the case may be. We're moving from that to an environment where people are breaking into these small groups and they're speaking for 7 minutes or some period of time, and then they're holding up their responses and they're speaking and they're coming down and recording. A bunch of opportunities there for time to be lost to too much noise in the room and not being able to hear people's perspectives, and this is a concern that people have. Well, there are basically two levels at which we need focus to be brought back to the front of the room, excepting the beginning of class, which is typical, hello, good morning, alright, let's get going. At the end of an activity, we have students speaking to each other, perhaps adamantly about some position that they're espousing, and then we need to bring them back to the front of the classroom in relative silence so that we can hear specific positions, we can record their responses either en masse or individually. How do we do that? Well, initially, we just have to use typical classroom management activities, but as facilitators in their role that they may be assigned for that day become more conversant in their role, what I get them to do is to bring the group itself back to me. So I'll connect with those facilitators if there are 10 to 40 in the classroom, and I'll say, alright facilitators, please bring your group back to the front of the room. And that person now has been individually singled out to say, alright guys, it's time for us to focus on the front of the classroom now. And a peer is telling the people to do those things instead of just this voice in the front of the room. And it's highly effective to do it that way. So that's great, and it can be used at all times during the class. As long as there's a facilitator present, that person can be tagged to bring the group's focus back and make people quiet down in the group, including themselves. But the time that we really need quiet is when individuals are recording out their responses for posting and viewing later. The room needs to be veritably silent at that point. And what I do is, instead of hushing people and asking them to quiet down, it's their time. They have one of their peers sitting in front of them in the room, and I'm asking them to show respect to them. So instead of demanding respect from the students, I'll just wait. I'll stand in front of the camera and just wait. And it's highly effective. The students acculturate to, all right, we need to be quiet now, and the room becomes silent, hauntingly silent. It works highly effectively as time passes, and the time that it takes the room to become silent decreases over time as well. This is the way that we can engage in that quieting classroom management practice.